So let's start laying down on our back. When you get there, you can give your knees a little squeeze into your chest, rock a little bit from side to side. Good, and then go ahead and place your feet down on the mat. So as wide as the mat, allow your knees to knock in towards each other. Just bring your arms by your side. You're also welcome to do cactus arms. Sometimes that feels like a nice stretch across the heart and chest. So you could go there. You could take a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly. So just kind of seeing what you need. And then take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Good, just do that a couple more times. With each exhale, just releasing any tension, any stress, letting that to-do list go away for the next hour. And then you're eventually finding that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Length of the inhale, length of the exhale, really nice and even. I'm just using this breath to help focus the mind, to help quiet the mind. Again, just check in with your body. Make sure that there isn't any tension creeping in anywhere. So you're soft and relaxed. Especially shoulders are releasing down. Shoulder blades are pressing into your mat. Good. So go ahead and take a nice deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then you can stretch your arms up overhead, extend your legs to straight on the mat, and then you can just point your toes up towards the ceiling and then release them forward. So getting a stretch in the top of the leg. Just do that a few times. And then from here, again, just give your knees a gentle squeeze into your chest. Welcome, Neil. Bring your arms out in a T shape. Keep your knees squeezing in. As you exhale, just drop the knees off to the right. So nice, gentle twist. You want to make sure that that left shoulder head is pressing down into the mat. So if it isn't, maybe you need to slide a block or a blanket underneath your knees. You can just back out a little bit. You could even use core strength here to hold your knees up and feel that pressing of your shoulder. And then we're going to inhale up to center and exhale, dropping knees off to the left. So again, feel this right shoulder blade really heavy and even. So you might need to back out a little bit. You might need to give yourself a prop underneath your knees. Breath smooth and steady. And then let's inhale up to center, and let's just turn this into a little core work here. So stomach churning pose. We'll keep the knees bent. Exhale, they release off to the right. They may or may not touch. Inhale to center. Exhale, they release to the left. Good. Inhale to center. You're trying to keep your knees squeezing in pretty tight here. It's going to feel a little different for all of us. And then just continuing like this. So you might be gazing out over opposite fingers of the direction the knees are falling. You might just be looking straight up at the ceiling. Just finding this little, I'm not going to call this an easy vinyasa, a simple vinyasa. How about that? Good, so let's do one more complete cycle. So you'll come back up to center after your knees have dropped to the left. Good, and then we're gonna start to roll forward and back on our spine. If that feels okay, if it doesn't, you can just roll off to one side or the other, but just kind of massaging things out here. Eventually rolling all the way up, finding your tabletop position. So setting up for your cat-cow, land with your shoulders over your wrists, your knees underneath your hips. Pull your lower belly in and up. Good, and then as you inhale, chest extends forward through the gates of your shoulders. So you're finding that cobra pose in your upper body. As you exhale, pull belly button to the back ribs, release your head down. So lengthening the back of your neck, continuing like this. So we will call this is an easier vinyasa. It's simple as well, but also usually feels pretty good. Kind of starts to open up the spine, starts to connect movement with the breath. Maybe see if you can press down more into the tops of your feet and shins. You're also just paying attention to any sensations you may be getting. So how are things feeling here? Where are there places of tenderness in your spine? Where are you feeling a little easier, a little more open? Can you transfer some of that feeling to the spots that are tighter? Couple more rounds here. Good, inhale to a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. You're just giving yourself a little bit of space. And then you're gonna curl your toes under, shift your hips up towards the ceiling, finding your downward facing dog. And then fidget around a little bit if you like here. Some days it's just really nice to come into a place of stillness. So landing right away with your feet hips distance apart. Maybe a little bend in your knees. This first downward dog of the day can always feel a little challenging. Begin to firm the inner arm towards the outer arm. Feel that widening across the backs of your shoulders. See what's going on with your breath again. And then let's inhale, lift our right leg up. Keep hips even. As you exhale, shift shoulders over your wrists, curl your knees in, keep your gaze slightly forward, press the mat vigorously away. And then we're gonna step that foot through between our hands. We're gonna land on our left knee, taking a couple of breaths here. So just melting that left hip flexor down. If you're really tight, you're gonna take your hands on blocks. Just give yourself a little support, essentially bringing the floor closer. We're gonna inhale, pull back. Again, you might have hands on blocks. You might be completely upright. There might be a generous bend in your right knee. That hamstring's feeling really tight. And then let's exhale, rock forward, hands to that right thigh. So make sure your feet are about hips distance apart here. Direct your tailbone down. As you inhale, arms will reach up. So reach, reach, reach. Good. And then exhale, take your arms wide. As you exhale, squeeze the outer hips in as you twist to the right. And then let's take our right hand down, that back leg, reach the left arm up and over. Feel your shoulder blades releasing down your back. So kind of a little reverse low crescent pose. Good, and then let's hinge forward here. Take your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Right palm presses to left palm. So a little low twisting crescent. Vigorously pressing palms towards heart center. You could be looking forward. You could be looking down. You could be looking towards that right elbow, shoulder. Good. As you exhale, start to unwind. Inhale, full crescent pose. Very nice. As you exhale, hands come to the mat, they plant. Curl your left toes under, and let's just pull back nice and easy, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here, make any tiny little adjustments that you need to, and then find your place of stillness. Good, inhale, left leg lifts. So a couple of breaths here, getting into the core. Shift shoulders over wrist, curl your knee into your nose. Keep your gaze slightly forward. See if you can find plank pose in your upper back. So sometimes we like to round here when we're doing this. Try to keep that widening across the backs of your shoulders, and then you sneak that foot through. Land on your right knee, and you want to make sure that you're not on a tightrope. So feet hips distance apart, melting that right thigh down. So big hip flexor stretch, you're just figuring out, noticing how it feels. Breath smooth and steady. We're gonna pull back into that Ardha Hanumanasana, so our half splits. Left hip draws back, right hip comes forward. So there's this scissoring action happening in the legs. Of course, it's a big, big hamstring stretch. Bend in that left knee if you need it. All right, exhale, rock forward. Hands to that left thigh. Direct your tailbone down. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. Good, and then as we exhale, we take our arms wide. So wrists in line with shoulders. Deep inhale, lengthen through the sides of your waist. And then exhale, twist to the left. Keep squeezing that left hip in. And then we're gonna find our little reverse low crescent here. So left fingertips can reach down that right leg. You might even just have your hand on your left hip, that counts. Right arm is coming up and over. And then see if you can just visualize these right ribs twisting to the left a little more. Keep pressing to the inner edge of your left foot. Start to hinge forward. Kind of helps to do that on an exhale. Hook that right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Left palm presses to right palm. And you're vigorously pressing towards heart center. Wrapping right ribs to the left. Breath smooth and steady. And just bringing your gaze any place that feels comfortable. Good, as you exhale, you start to unwind here. Inhale. Arms reach up, crescent pose, low crescent. As you exhale, hands frame that left foot. Curl your right toes under. Pull back, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then from here, we're gonna inhale. Keep the legs really active as you shift forward into your plank pose. Couple of breaths. Gaze slightly forward so the back of your neck is nice and long. And let's come to our knees. To the count of 5, start to bend your elbows. So they pull back, shoulder heads lift. 3, 2, 1. Landing on your belly, tops of the feet press. And we're gonna reach our arms by our side. You could also hold on to a strap here, which can feel really nice. If you have the flexibility in your shoulders, you're gonna go ahead and interlace your fingers. All right, so if you've got the strap, you're pulling out. If you're just reaching fingers by the side, just reach them towards your heels, lift your shoulder heads. Here we go as we inhale. Chest extends forward and up. So not a big movement, but such a great movement for creating strength in the lower back, actually throughout the entire spine. Breath smooth and steady. Roll a little bit more to the outer edges of your feet. Good, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift again. If your fingers were interlaced, maybe you change the interlacing. Good, exhale, release. Bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. Elbow squeeze in. So basically the same action that we're having, we're just changing the arm position a little bit, but we're gonna generate the movement from our lower back. Inhale, chest extends forward and up. Exhale, gaze out over your right shoulder, move in that direction. You might not get all the way there. Take a few breaths here. Feel his inner thighs spiral up. Good, inhale to center, and then exhale. Bring your gaze out towards your left shoulder, and then just take a few breaths there like that. Good, back to center. Option to stay here like this. If you're ready for an upward dog, drag hands back a lot. You want your wrists underneath your elbows. As you inhale, press into your feet. So legs really active, your shins, your knees, your thighs are lifting. Your arms are coming to straight, but you're still pressing your shoulder heads back. From here, you can roll over your toes. If you're in your low cobra, press to your tabletop and then curl your toes under. Couple of breaths. So downward dog in a short amount of time is feeling a lot easier, hopefully. And if it's not, that's okay too. Some days it just takes a little longer. But start to pay attention how things shift as we begin to move. All right, so as you inhale, bend your knees, come to your tippy toes, look where you're going. You can lightly hop both feet through. You can walk forward, you can step right foot, then left foot. Inhale, hands on shins or thighs. Fingertips could also be on the floor. Chest extends forward, gaze comes forward, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So starting to flow a little bit here. So just moving into some of our Ardha Surya Namaskara, half sun salutes. Inhaling, reaching. Good, exhale, fold in. You can always have a bend in your knees here. Really let the back of the neck lengthen down. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. Good, inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. We have 3 more of those. I'm not going to cue you. We're just going to move together with the breath. You might close your eyes here. The important thing is to let these feel really fluid, to let these feel really good in your body, so you make any adjustments that you need to. You pay attention to your breath. You connect the movement with the breath. I always say that these are the best medicine. It's hard not to smile when you're doing them. I should take my own advice, and when I'm really frustrated with weeding at the farm, I should bust out some half sun salutes and see if it makes it a little better. I'm going to do it. I'm going to report back to you guys. Good. When you're done with your 3rd round, just pause with your palms together at your heart, eyes closed. Let your breath slow down if it started to speed up at all. Again, check in, notice how you're feeling. Might be feeling a little heat, a little extra heat on a day that's already hot for many of us. And we're going to blink our eyes open, release our arms by our side. As we inhale, arms reach up. Right fingertips, left wrist. Exhale, side bend to the right. Good. Inhale up to center. Left fingertips, right wrist. Exhale, side bend to the left. Good. Inhale up to center. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Good, inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Step your left foot way back. Good, keep the toes curled under this time. As you inhale, rise up, crescent pose. Good, as you exhale, take your arms out wide. Good, take a deep inhale here, and then exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, find that reverse crescent pose. So right hand down, that back leg, left arm up and over, couple of breaths. Keep squeezing this outer right hip in. It feels like you're pressing to the inner edge of that right foot. Good. Inhale, full crescent pose. Nice. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good. Left fingertips, right wrist. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale to center. Right fingertips, left wrist. Exhale, side bend right. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step your right foot way back. And then as you inhale, rise up, full crescent pose again. Feet, hips distance apart. Sneak that left foot to the left if you need to. Exhale, stretch your arms out wide. Take an inhale, pull the lower belly in and up. And then as you exhale, twist the upper body to the left. Keep pressing to the inner edge of your left foot. Inhale, find your little reverse crescent. And if left hand down back leg doesn't work, left hand to left hip does. Good. Are you breathing? Inhale, stretch up, crescent pose. As you exhale, palms plant, step your right foot to meet your left foot. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. Beautiful work. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left. See if you can stretch out this exhale as you shift forward on your toes. Lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. You can be using your knees. Inhale into the back bend of your choice. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Few breaths, gaze between your feet. Stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Firm forearms in towards each other, so begin to feel muscle firming to bone. Inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, step right then left, hop or walk through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So if you have blocks, go ahead and make sure that they're at the top of your mat. All right. As we inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Then knees, plant palms, left foot back, then right foot on the exhale, shift forward, lower, whatever that looks like for you. Inhale into the back bend of your choice. So you can mix and match these. As you exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. And then from here, we're gonna inhale, lift our right leg up. Good. As you exhale, you're gonna step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Let's rise up into our crescent pose again. Good. And then we're gonna start to straighten that front leg. Spin into the back edge of that left foot and maybe walk it a hair closer. So you're narrowing your stance. Keep dragging this left hip forward, pulling this right hip back. All right. And then as we exhale, let's take our arms out wide and then start to hinge forward. And this is where you might want to take your hands to block. So finding your pyramid pose. I'm gonna just give you another little angle on this. So hips are moving towards even. So that right hip likes to drag forward, drag it back. And of course, it's a really, really big hamstring stretch in this right side. Keep a little of your brain in that back foot. For those of us that are watching this that are a little more flexible, maybe you fold in a little deeper. You could even walk your hands back towards that left foot. Good. And then do have a block. It'll be nice. And if you don't, that's fine. But we're going to root down into that left palm. So make sure that your left shoulder is over your left wrist. Let's bring our right thumb to our right hip crease. Pull back. Good. And then start to spin to the right. So left ribs wrap to the right. You might just stay here like this, gently pressing that right shoulder back. Maybe you extend that top arm up. So version of our twisted triangle pose. It's a doozy. Keep breathing. Can be looking down, forward, or up. Good. One more deep inhale. Exhale, unwind, and then start to straighten, or rather bend that right knee. Good. Come back onto your left toes. Let's inhale, rise up, crescent pose. Good. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat, and you have options here. So you can take a chaturanga vinyasa if you'd like more heat, or you could simply step back to your downward facing dog. So more is not always more. Sometimes less is better, especially these hot summer months. You start to overheat. Maybe you skip some of the chaturangas since summer is doing it all on its own. We're going to inhale, lift our left leg, hips stay even. Exhale, use your belly to step that foot through. As we inhale, we rise up, crescent pose. Okay, and then we're going to press to the inner edge of the left foot. Start to bring this left leg to straight. Spin into the back edge of the right foot. So those toes are pointing towards the upper right-hand corner of your mat. You can take your stance a little narrower if you need to. All right, as you exhale, arms come out by the side. And then start to hinge forward as you pull left hip back. Right hip forward, hands on blocks, really nice. So back into the hamstrings, especially this front one. How does this side feel different? Change the height of the blocks if you need to. Pyramid pose, Parsvattanasana. Okay, so we're gonna come into that twist again. So placing your right palm underneath your right shoulder, block is really nice here. Left thumb to left hip crease, so you're kind of pulling back, not even kind of, you're doing it. And then you're spinning your right ribs to the left, you're leaning this left shoulder head back. Maybe you start to extend that top arm up. So shoulder blades stack on top of each other. See if your right shoulder is coming up towards your right ear. Soften down, even in this pose. Are you breathing? The breath can start to get a little ragged in these not only twists, but these really challenging twists. This is a hard pose in my humble assessment. The good thing about this pose is if you do it well, you do get enlightenment. Is anybody paying attention? I'm full of shit. It doesn't matter if you do this or any pose well. You may or may not get enlightenment. As you exhale, unwind. Good. Start to bend that left knee. Come onto your right toes. You might need to slide that foot back a little bit. Inhale. Full crescent pose. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. And again, options. So maybe you take a step to plank, hold that for a breath or two. Maybe you step to downward dog. Maybe you want a little chaturanga vinyasa. What do you need? What will make you feel best right now? Do that. And then let's take a quick little child's pose. We earned it after that twisted triangle pose. So big toes together, knees apart. If you want to get into the hips a little more, take the knees really wide. Good, and then start to melt forward. Any amount. Let your breath slow down. Couple more rounds of breath here. All right, so as you inhale, start to roll on up. Good, find your tabletop, and then maybe walk your hands forward, curl your toes under, find your downward facing dog. And then as you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, you can lightly hop through, you can step left and right, you can walk feet forward, however you want to get there. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. If you do have a block handy, you're gonna just go ahead and grab it and you're gonna place it just above your knees. So inner upper thighs. Probably the narrow end for most of us if you kind of just want your ankles in line with your hips. So you might even need the medium end. So you can just kind of play around and see what feels best. So as you're squeezing this block, I want you to feel as though you're gonna spin it to face behind you, but you're countering that action by releasing your tailbone down, lengthening through the sides of your waist, feeling a little bit of lift in your sternum. Keep that sensation. We're gonna make it a little harder. As you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana. Good, and don't be shy about sinking in. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. Notice how hips are facing forward. We wanna hold on to that. So we're generating the twist from this lowermost left rib. Good, and then maybe, again, you can hinge forward. Hook that left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Use that leverage to help you get in a little deeper. Make sure that you're still bending your knees at least a little. And then notice if you have the death grip on your toes, they should actually be pretty light. As you exhale, unwind, just hinge forward, straighten the legs, let the head hang. Good, inhaling, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana, chair pose, weight in your heels, squeezing the block a lot. It feels like it's spinning down towards the floor now. So you exhale, hands come to heart center. Good, so thinking twist coming from the upper body, start to wrap right ribs to the left. You could just stay here like this. Maybe you hinge forward and you can connect that left or right elbow to the outside of that left thigh. You could imagine that you're up against a wall here. You're pressing both sit bones back evenly into that wall. Breath smooth and steady. Good, as you exhale, release back in, straighten your legs. Good, and then let's inhale. Chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. And because we can, if you have the block, just hold on to it. Plant your palms, start to tippy toe your feet out to your plank pose. So now it feels like you're spinning that block up towards the ceiling. Good, and then lower to your knees. Remove the block, hallelujah. It's kind of a fun little tool sometimes. It does give us some nice feedback. From here, let's just shift shoulders over our wrists. Good, exhale, lower to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come into our Sphinx pose. So landing on your forearms, your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Good, same work happening in our feet that we have our feet and our legs with all of our belly back bends. So you have that Shalabhasana feeling. Feet about hips distance apart, you're rolling to the outer edges of your feet. Good, so let's start to bend our right knee. Again, make sure that that knee doesn't track off to the right side. You wanna keep hips even. And you can keep your left hand as it is, or you can angle it in a little bit. Sometimes that's helpful. And then let's reach back. See if you can grab the outer edge of that right foot. So thumb is to the outer ankle. And then you're trying to release both shoulder heads evenly. You're going to feel a nice little stretch here in your quadricep, that hip flexor. It might be not so nice and little. It might actually be pretty big and intense. That's okay too. If you are not able to reach your foot, you could be using a strap here. Good. As you exhale, try not to slingshot out. Find that Sphinx pose again. As you root down into your forearms, it feels as though you're gonna drag the mat back towards your heels. Breath is smooth and steady. And then we're gonna do our left side. So you can angle that right hand in if you want to. It's gonna make it a little easier. Bend your left knee, reach back, just grab the outer edge of the foot. So thumb kind of presses to that outer left ankle. Lengthening back nice and long through your right toes, feeling that inner right thigh spiral up. How does this side feel different? Does it feel different? Good, deep inhale. Exhale, gently release. Coming back to that forearm pose here, forearm back bend. Really feel the tops of your feet pressing evenly. Feel your hip bones press, and you can stay here like this if you want to go a little deeper. Maybe you start to press into your hands, bringing your elbows towards straight. Keep pressing your shoulder heads back. Gaze is just soft and gentle in front of you. You might be bringing your eyeballs up. Resist the urge to throw your neck back, your head back. Good, gently release down. And then let's just bring our arms by our side, land on your forehead. So let's put it all together, coming into Dhanurasana. So bow pose, resting on your forehead. Bend both knees. Don't let the knees go wide. So keep them about hips distance apart. And then you're gonna reach back, grab the outer edges of your feet again. So thumbs pointing forward. Before you even come up, squeeze your shoulder blades in together. Imagine that you're holding a pencil between your shoulder blades. So don't let it drop. And then as we inhale, everything extends and lifts. So chest forward, legs up and back. Breath smooth and steady. And not the world's easiest pose, but a really good one. As you exhale, lower down, just turn your cheek to one side. And then let's do one more of these. All right, we got this. Knees bend. Grab the outer edges of your feet, so shoulder head's already lifting. On an inhale, kick your feet into your hands. Tops of the thighs, the knees lift. The head and chest extend forward and lift. You can rock up and down, back and forth if that feels good. Not so good if you just ate. Skip it if that's you. Inhale, everything lifts, maybe just a thought higher. And then exhale, release. Turn your cheek to the other side, just take a little rest. Maybe make a pillow with your hands. And then let's take the knees a little wider than hips distance apart. And start to windshield wiper your legs nice and slow. from side to side, just to release out the lower back after that really big back bend. Good, and then go ahead and release down. So just press on up to tabletop. Let's do a couple rounds of cat-cow just to release out the back a little further. And then you can cross your ankles behind you, sit back, and then extend your legs forward and straight. So finding your Dandasana, seated staff pose. If it's hard for you to sit tall here, so if you start to round a lot in the upper spine, sit up on a blanket or two or some blocks. Just give yourself a little height. You know, the feet to be really active here. So as you press into the center of the heels, the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left foot. We're going to find a little twist here. If you know that forward folding is hard in your body, you're going to grab your strap. You're going to take it around the sole of your foot. Otherwise, you're going to inhale, stretch your arms up, hold on to that twisting action. And then as you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Try to think a little back bend here. So again, you're not rounding so much. It's like you're going to try to just lay your upper body on that leg. Really intense hamstring stretch. There's a twist, there's a forward fold here. We're getting a little groin and hip stretch on that right side. All of the things happening. What's going on with your breath? Maybe you can start to slow it down a little bit. So stretching out the inhale, lengthening out the exhale. Couple more complete cycles of breath. Good, nice and slow. As you inhale, start to roll on up. So let's inhale, stretch the arms out. Let's just stay in this shape here. Again, keep those left toes really active. As you exhale, twist to the left. And you're gonna feel a little more intense stretch, this inner right thigh. Good, and then release. Right hand to the outside of that left thigh, left fingertips come behind you. Twisting from the lowermost right rib. Breath smooth and steady. You're inhaling for length, exhaling, twisting in. Good, unwind here, come to center, and then let's twist in the opposite direction. So a couple of variations here. So use your right hand to draw that right knee in. So you might stay here like this. Perhaps you can take your right foot across that left thigh. So if you do that and this right sit bone pops up, it's not for you. So we want both sit bones on the floor. The other variation you might take here is to bend that left knee. Same thing applies. You want to make sure that both of your sit bones are pressing into the floor. All right. We're going to go ahead and reach our right fingertips behind us. You can hug here, right knee with left elbow, or maybe you get a little length and then twist in, hooking elbow to the outside of that right thigh. So you're kind of leveraging them against each other. So you can open up a little more. Maybe you move towards bringing your gaze out over that right shoulder. Just giving everything a nice little ring out. We've done lots of twists today. They're intense. They're really good for you though. Healthy for the spine. And I would argue it's also really good to challenge ourselves. Good, one more deep inhale. Exhale, come back to center. So if you're in this pretzel shape, just exit the reverse from how you came in. So straighten that left leg, uncross the right leg. Find our Dandasana again. So sitting tall here, just noticing the effort it takes, especially the core effort it takes to sit like this. And then just say to yourself, I'm gonna sit like this every time I binge Netflix. Okay, maybe not. All right, sole of the left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. Again, if you know that forward folding is really hard in your body, you start to round a lot, you kind of cheat it, use your strap. Otherwise, find that twist, stretch your arms up, and we try to hold on to that twist as we lengthen forward. So again, it's like we're just trying to lay our torso on that extended right thigh. Hands can come to thigh, shin. If you're a little more flexible, you can hold on to your right wrist with your left hand. And then that's nice because it helps you to just leverage that twist a little more. Janu Shirshasana, head to toe pose. Does this side feel different in your body? Couple more good breaths here. And just feeling those left ribs wrapping towards that right thigh. Even if it's just an idea, even if it's just a thought. Good, roll on up here. And then let's inhale, stretch our arms out wide. Really press into the center of that right heel. Exhale, twist to the right. Maybe feel that stretch on that left side. And then you can reach your right fingertips behind you. Left hand comes to the outside of your right thigh. Shoulder heads gently press back. Maybe bringing your gaze out towards that right shoulder. Trying to maintain that nice lengthening through the sides of your waist. Good deep inhale. Exhale, unwind, left hand to the outside of the left knee. So then we twist the opposite direction. So you might stay here like this. You might cross this left foot over your right thigh. You might bend your right knee. Good, so reach your left fingertips behind you. You can either hug here with that right arm, or maybe you take your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Check in with that right leg again. Make sure it's really active. Feel these right ribs begin to really release and wrap to the left. Shoulder heads are gently pressing back, and then you're just bringing your gaze any place that feels comfortable. Good, one more deep inhale. And as you exhale, unwind. So extending both legs to straight. Good, rooting into your sit bones. Inhale, arms stretch up. Coming into Paschimottanasana, so just a nice, really symmetrical pose after all of that twisting. Again, you can use your strap here around your feet. Otherwise, you hinge forward. Again, it's like you're gonna lay your torso out over your thighs. Hands on thighs, shins. You can grab the edges of your feet. Maybe you have a block at the ends of your feet, and then you can hold the edges of the block. So wherever you're at, this is intense. You're going to feel it in your hamstrings. We've done a lot to warm them up today. So maybe you feel like you have a little more room here. Maybe you don't. Just noticing, just remembering that it's always improving, even if it's small, even if you can't tell. When we show up and work hard, it does make a difference. Good. As we inhale, we roll on up. And we're going to make our way onto our backs here. When you get there, hug your knee into your chest. If you prefer to end in quiet meditation, just seated, you're welcome to do that. But otherwise, we're moving towards our final resting pose, Shavasana. Good. So whatever feels comfortable to you here, maybe you keep your knees bent, especially if there's any sensation in your lower back. Just allow the knees to knock in towards each other. You could also always take some proppage underneath your knees, so a blanket or some blocks, or maybe you feel good just coming into your classic Shavasana. And right away, wherever you're at, just melt in here, drop in, soak up these final quiet moments. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Bring some gentle movement back to your body. Wiggle fingers, toes, stretch out. Staying soft and quiet, just roll to one side or the other. Find the fetal position. And then using your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. And just do one final check-in as you get here. So observe physically how you're feeling. Maybe you're sitting a little taller with a greater sense of ease and strength. Observe how your breath is different than when you started. So hopefully it's feeling a little steadier, a little deeper, richer. Observe how the headspace has shifted. So hopefully you're feeling calmer, quieter, a little more focused, a little joy. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard and making the effort. And just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. Just bow your head with a smile. Great work today. Thank you.